here's Brody Brazil.
Okay, welcome to a little film review here on the YouTube channel, and hopefully by the end of this video, I will have helped you make a decision on whether or not you want to watch Happy Gilmore 2. I got the chance to enjoy it over this past weekend. It just came out on the 25th of July, 2025. What a date. It's something I knew was coming. It's something I was very much looking forward to. I think this got announced final days of 2024, maybe right around Christmas. So I've been knowing for a while that this would come out. I've been excited about it. I have not lost any sleep over it, like not that excited, but I was finally happy to be able to watch this. I watched it with some friends too, so not only do I have my own thoughts, but I saw their reactions too. We talked about it a little bit. I'm going to present all of that in this video, but one thing I'm going to try and steer clear of are any spoilers. I do have to probably tell you some things that are likely obvious. You've probably seen these things in the trailer, so I'm not going to give any secrets away. Like, if I'm trying to sell you on watching this movie, I don't want to give the best parts away. So minimal spoilers. You're safe with me watching this if you have not seen Happy Gilmore 2 yet. Let's begin with topic number one and the challenges of any sequel, whether this is Happy Gilmore or Back to the Future or you name it, any movie that has sequels made to the original, and the original was kind of viewed as a classic. It is rare that any sequel to a classic can ever meet expectations. Now, I bring up Back to the Future because, yes, movie of my childhood, one of the favorites, but actually Back to the Future 2 kind of held up to Back to the Future 1. It was Back to the Future 3 that was the rough one of that trilogy. But the bottom line is it's very difficult to get to that bar or even exceed that bar once expectations have been set so high because of the original, because the original has dialogue and characters and settings and lines and scenarios and going to your happy place and you jackass. It has so many things, right, that were ingrained for 29 years. That movie was out for 29 years as its own thing, a standalone movie. There was no follow-up to it, no sequel, anything, right? People got familiar with what Happy Gilmore, the original, was. And so some people have watched that movie, like it's been on TV a bunch, 100 times in their life since then. They're very familiar with what it's supposed to be about and the characters and all the punchlines and all the parts that are funny, right? So it's hard to get back to something that is so ingrained in your mind as being very good. Fortunately, I will say about this sequel, a lot of the existing storylines from the original, they could actually be built upon here in Happy Gilmore 2. And I will say that's one of the best parts. It's a different storyline, kind of. There are some very big picture similarities on how the movie starts, what the middle part is, and kind of the challenge, the apex, and the conclusion. But again, it's nice to have some foundations to build on, at least from part one to part two. Get what I'm saying? So there's some consistency. This movie has unmatched cameos. I mean, there are some golf people that you would never have expected to see in this movie. I was surprised. It caught me off guard. Like, oh, that person's in this? I had no clue. One was kind of a main character of the movie. There are several other people who are sub-characters, but they make cameos, they make appearances. Some of them have speaking roles. So yeah, you'll be surprised. Like if you like golf, you'll be surprised of who's actually in this movie and who decided to partake. There's also some other people, in fact, a lot of people from sports and entertainment that I wasn't aware of were in the movie. And again, I knew this was coming out. I had watched the trailer. I had understood what I thought I was getting into by watching this. But the cameos were probably the best part and the best surprise. Everything else was okay, but I feel like who was in this movie, in addition to Adam Sandler, and by surprise, that made watching part two, it gave it a little bit of a boost. I do think that if you're a celebrity and you were approached to be in this movie and you heard like, wait, they're in it? And that person's all these, and you're asking me to also be in? Of course I'm in. If they're in, I'm in. I feel like it's an easy buy-in for celebrities once there's momentum. Nobody wants to be excluded, especially in that golf world when you see who's in that movie. Some literal A-list golfers and who's who of golf. It's easy for that momentum to build and all the celebrities want to be in it. In terms of the movie plot, now I said it did largely resemble much of the plot from the original, just in terms of where it started and the middle and how it finished. But it's also interesting because there was a very modern and timely storyline to this movie that was addressed. And I'll just say it like this. In the movie, it was tournament golfers versus the Maxi Tour. Whereas in real life, I don't need to explain you the kind of controversy and back and forth between PGA golfers and, well, I don't need to do that. It exists the Live Tour, right? So the parallels here in the storylines and the conflict and the storytelling, among all the humor of an Adam Sandler movie, among all the humor of a Happy Gilmore movie, like there was kind of a real life, deep layered storyline and a look at the state of golf. Like the Live Tour trying to come in and be this Hollywood stunt show and have a different approach, and traditional golf is popular but sometimes proudly boring, and all that stuff was actually addressed in this comedy of a movie. And again, it maybe wasn't apparent, and if you're casually watching golf and if you're casually just diving into this, maybe that's not something that's slap you across the face obvious. But if you know anything, it was kind of weird to say, wow, this is actually a real life issue in the middle of a comedy movie. And I also feel like, and I won't give away what that statement is, this movie actually makes a statement about kind of this situation and debacle. Okay, if you want to watch part 2 and you haven't watched part 1, like the original, not much of part 2 is going to make sense. There were a lot of callbacks. There were a lot of consistencies, characters that kind of built on who they used to be. You know, I'll give this part away. Ben Stiller, yes, is in part 2. But if you didn't know who he was or what he did in part 1, who he is and what he does in part 2 is not going to make much sense. And also, if you haven't watched part 1 and if you don't enjoy golf, this movie also is not going to hit the same way. So I feel like if you haven't watched part 1 and you don't care really about golf, don't check out of this video yet, but you might want to check out of watching it on Netflix. However, look, it's super easy to catch up on part 1 and enjoy part 2. We're not asking you to watch 20 other movies. I'm just saying that part 2 doesn't really stand alone on its own without some context and some background. The humor of Happy Gilmore 2. I'm not going to give away all the funniest parts, but it was a typical Adam Sandler movie. And the humor and the craziness and the, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. It kind of felt, and I say this in a complimentary way, what did the original come out in 1996? It felt sometimes like a 1996 movie. And for me, 44-year-old Brazil, some of that was actually refreshing. It felt like it had some genuine, I don't know, it's like home cooking. It had some home cooking to it. It felt right in a lot of ways. It felt like a throwback, and the comedy and the delivery of the jokes and the funniest parts, it felt a lot like the original Happy Gilmore. And I'll say this too, the original, when it came out, I mean, I view the original as pretty much a classic, but the original, when it came out, I feel like it played better over time than it did instantly. Were people talking about Happy Gilmore in 1997 or 8 or 9? Maybe to a certain degree, but it's the fact that they were talking about it in 2009. 2014, 2019, and here we are in 2025, and part 2 finally came out exclusively on Netflix. By the way, that's another thing. This came out in movie theaters when it originally was released, right? Because that's just how things came out. Now, straight to streaming on Netflix, it's a totally different world. So different release, different production, but in terms of like the comedy and the humor, it's what Adam Sandler does. And again, some of that was refreshing. My point here is that maybe this one is going to grow on you too. Maybe at first you watch it and you say, that was okay. I remember watching Anchorman for the very first time thinking, this is not a great movie. And what's crazy is over the years, I watch Anchorman again. It's been a while now, but some of the lines and deliveries and parts are so classic, but they stand the test of time better than when they originally came out. So, should you watch Happy Gilmore 2? If you remotely enjoyed the first one, yes, you should. If you just want to stay up on pop culture and you kind of thought the first one was okay and you just want to see what everybody else is talking about, sure, you should watch it. It's like not bad. It's not going to impede on your time. If you're searching for something better than the original, if your expectation is, oh, this one is going to take everything I used to love and make it even better, No. It might equal the first one, which might satisfy you because there's something else to watch. I just don't know if it actually topped the original. By the way, Adam Sandler, it's crazy in the flashbacks to look at him and think, oh, that's what he used to look like. It's how I remember it. But man, the contrast of then versus now, we all age. Trust me. I get it too as somebody who kind of lives their life on camera. But it's fun and interesting to see all the flashbacks and how things were in the mid-90s versus the mid-2020s. But I credit Adam Sandler and everybody involved in this movie for making something that I enjoyed. And everybody I watched it with seemed to enjoy it to a certain degree. Nobody hated it. So varying opinions, but let me know what you think in the comments section below. Have you seen it? Would you recommend it? Why would that be? Or why would you not recommend it to somebody else who's here on the channel? Let us all know in the comments. Also, thumbs up while you're down there. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'd love to see you back here next time.